What is going on, guys? InfiniteOni here, bringing you my latest Fallout 4 build, the Gym Warrior. This build is all about pumping iron at the gym, getting your strength and endurance training on, and taking plenty of supplements, or chems in this case, to enhance your workout. Going into the Commonwealth, you'll have 9 strength, 1 perception, 9 endurance, 1 charisma, 6 intelligence, 1 agility, 1 luck. The special book in Sanctuary will be put into endurance. A 9 in strength represents his bodybuilding abilities and was able to lift some of the heaviest of weights at the gym no problem. This also helps out with melee and unarmed damage. Perception is a drop stat at 1 as it's not really needed for this build. Once you have the special book, you'll have a 10 in endurance. This also represents his bodybuilding abilities and is able to take quite a beating. This doesn't exactly make him bulletproof, but gives him more survivability. After grabbing the endurance bobblehead at Poseidon Energy, this will give you a base 11 endurance. Charisma is another drop stat at 1. He was never really a talker. He just went to the gym, did his workout, and left. The only exception was meeting his wife Nora, but I'll get into that during the backstory. A 6 in intelligence shows us he's not entirely stupid and does his research when it comes to bodybuilding. This is also used to enhance his supplements, making them last longer and also level at an acceptable rate. Another drop stat is agility. Despite being a bodybuilder, he didn't exactly work on his cardio game too much. The final drop stat is luck. Despite meeting a beautiful woman at the gym, he hasn't been the luckiest of all people. Now let's get into the build's perks. Medic is practically a staple of my builds, and for good reason. This will allow our stim packs to be more effective, and this shows he's done some research when it comes to medicine. He's not a doctor, but fitness and medicine can go hand in hand. Big Leash represents how hard he can swing his melee weapons during combat. He'll also have Iron Fist, which represents his brute strength when it comes to fist fights. Armor will allow him to craft better armor for more survivability. Ballistic Weave is another great option as it will give you better armor rating on clothes that can be worn underneath his armor. I went with some army fatigues or baseball uniform for the sports look. Blacksmith will allow us more mods with our melee and unarmed weapons. This can also be used in conjunction with science for more options. Adamantium Skeleton is a great perk as all 3 ranks will eliminate limb damage. Eventually you'll put 1 more point in the strength, making it 10. This is preferred before grabbing the strength bobblehead over at Mass Fusion. This way, you'll have a base strength of 11 and will deal another 10% more damage. Solar Powered is a great perk that I really had some fun with. During the daytime hours in the sunlight, you'll have +2 strength and 2 endurance, making you even stronger and more durable during those times. The second rank will allow sunlight to slowly heal your radiation damage, and the third rank will allow sunlight to slowly heal your lost health. You can fast travel places and be at full health as long as it's daylight outside. Another great perk with Solar Powered is Life Giver. With all 3 ranks, you'll gain +60 health, and your health will slowly regenerate at any time. Chem Resistant represents his tolerance for supplements and steroids. With both ranks, he'll be completely immune to addiction withdrawals. In conjunction with this is Chemist, which will allow his supplements to last even longer. You'll need the Intelligence bobblehead over at the Boston Public Library to take Chemist. Eventually, he'll become durable enough to take Toughness, and making his body naturally more resistant against damage. Later on, you'll put a point in the Luck and have the Luck bobblehead to take Bloody Mess. This shows that our character is even stronger to the point where you can cause more bloodshed with your attacks. Now, let us move on to the gear section. Alrighty, here are some of the weapons that I've used for my build, and feel free to use basically whatever, but these are some pretty good choices right here. So Adam's Judgment is a unique super sledge which does +100 radiation damage. If you take 2 ranks in Nuclear Physicist, you can actually double the radiation damage. You can get it from completing a quest for Zealot Richter in the Far Harbor DLC, located in the Nucleus. Cito's Shiny Slugger, I maxed it out with a shocking puncturing rocket, and it comes equipped with an aluminum skin already. It refills your action points on a critical hit, and this is a gift from Cito from the Nuka World DLC. Now, as far as unarmed weapons go, I think the large Deathclaw Gauntlet is pretty much a good one. Of course, the Furious Power Fist is also a good one that you can get from Swan, but I don't have it listed here. Now, the Sharp Steel Sword, this is actually from the Fantasy Hero set on the Creation Club, which this is basically the Skyrim Steel Sword. So, it's a really good weapon, and it's the strongest melee weapon with a medium swing speed, so it's pretty good, especially if you're going to create a Dragonborn character using that Creation Club content. The Harvester, this weapon is just insane. Yes, I know 44 isn't really that much damage, but its swing speed is very fast. It's not necessarily a swinging weapon though, it's more of like a tiny chainsaw, but its effect is what really makes it powerful. It has a chance to stagger on hit, so you can just basically hold this to enemies and they'll just keep staggering and staggering. It's similar to Wind Shear from Skyrim, basically. And of course, there's the Throat Slicer, which your targets bleed for 25 points of additional damage, which is basically the wicked stepsister of Pikmin's Blade. It's a Disciple's Blade, and this one is maxed out with a Cutlass Blade. So now that we discussed the weapons, let's go into the armor section. Okay, so the strongest set of armor you're going to get without using power armor is actually the Marine Assault Armor. Now, the mods I've given it is I've given the chest piece dense so that I have greatly reduced damage when it comes to explosions. The arms are weighted, so whenever I attack an enemy with unarmed or melee attacks, it's going to ignore some of the armor that my enemies have. And my legs have the custom fit mod, which basically means that I take less AP when sprinting. Now, the only reason I'm not wearing a helmet, but I'm wearing a hat instead, is because I actually get a higher armor rating from a, like, let's say for example, a newsboy cap like I'm wearing, and give it Mark 5 Ballistic Weave, which gives you 110 damage and energy resistance, as opposed to a helmet. So, as far as the armor rating goes, I believe this is the highest you're going to get without using power armor whatsoever. Now, of course, I believe there's other perks that you can grab to increase this, but this is just one aesthetic you can go for. It's your character. You pretty much put whatever aesthetic you go for. This is just an example of pretty much how to get the highest armor rating in the game without power armor. So, let's go on to a different one now. Now, if you're feeling a bit sporty, I went with the armored baseball uniform, of course, with Ballistic Weave Mark 5, and of course I'm using the same newsboy cap as the previous layout here. Now I'm wearing heavy leather armor here. The chest piece has the Biocom Mesh mod, which allows our chems to have a 50% longer duration. Now this character already has 4 ranks in Chemist, so you have a total of your chems doing 250% longer duration than they were originally supposed to. Of course, the arms have the weighted mod, and the legs have the custom fit mod as well. Now, this is just a second example. This third example is probably my favorite for nostalgic reasons, and you'll see why here in just a second. And this last one, which is probably my favorite, is the quote-unquote Dragonborn apparel. So what I'm using is the same heavy leather arms that I used from the previous layout. So it's studded with the weighted mod, so whenever I attack a target with melee or unarmed attacks, it's going to ignore some of the target's armor. I'm wearing heavy metal legs, both of them with the dense mod, so basically I'm going to take less explosive damage. So this is really good against super mutant suiciders. Now, of course, I don't have a chest piece on, but I do have the Wildman's Rags. So that increases my melee attacks and unarmed attacks as well. And you get this from Sito by either pickpocketing him or killing him in Nuka World. And I'm wearing the fortified iron helmet that you get from Method to the Madness, which is a quest that you get from the Fantasy Hero set from the Creation Club. So this is the closest I believe I can get to making the Dragonborn. A lot of people just went with the Grognex costume, which is not a bad choice, So if you're going to go with a Dragonborn type character, you could start with that, and then once you get the Nuka World, you can get the Wildman's Drag from there. I just believe this is the closest aesthetic you're going to get to the Dragonborn. So, yes, this is definitely my favorite appearance of all the 3 layouts that I've shown you. The Gym Warrior was born in Boston and was a huge fan of sports growing up. He played for his high school baseball team and was one of the greatest hitters during his time. He then decided to enlist the United States Army and join the infantry. He can use a gun no problem, but preferred solving problems with his fist. Eventually he left the military and started becoming a bodybuilder over at his local gym. There he met a beautiful woman named Nora who happened to be a lawyer. The two fell in love, got married, and had a beautiful baby boy named Sean. Life was going grand for both of them until that fateful day on October 23rd, 2077, when the bombs fell. As far as factions go, this build can pretty much side with any faction in the game, and it basically makes sense. The only exception might be the Railroad, but I guess that would make him slightly different in this case. So, I mean, every faction I'm sure could use a Brute, and he could be the Brute of that faction. But yeah, this build is pretty versatile with practically every faction in the game, so there you go. As always, folks, I thank you all for watching. If you have any questions or comments about the build, please be sure to hit me up on Twitter at InfiniteOni, or you can just hit me in the comment section and I will get to you as soon as I can. I playtest all my character builds on Twitch at twitch.tv/InfiniteOni, and the O is a 0. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Take care now, and bye-bye then.